Welcome back to another video here at Truckin' Life, guys. You're all looking at the video title of the video, 19 years of trucking, and I'm still struggling. This video is not going to be anything flashy, guys. It's just going to be pretty much from the top of my head, just raw, uncut, unedited, um, of everything that's kind of going around in trucking right now, right? I don't know how long the video is going to be. It might be a long one. It might be a short one. Who knows? But I figured I'd just sitting down here in my truck with my AC on, my pickup truck, that is, because my load got canceled this Friday. So I ended up staying home the weekend. But seems to be happening more and more now in these days here in trucking, you know. But I kind of wanted to make this video and just kind of just talk to you all, have a real conversation, nothing scripted. It's just, you know, everything that I kind of see with the way trucking is, you know, and I've been thinking a lot about like having that like self-reflection type deal a whole lot. You know, I'm 40 years old. Been driving for 19 years now. I've been driving since I was 21 years old. And my journey kind of started a little weird with trucking. You know, my father-in-law had been trucking for many years when I got married with my wife. And he kept on telling me when I was young, like, don't do trucking. Don't do trucking. And granted, you know, I mean, back in those days, it was a whole different ball game when it came to truck driving, right? So I was going to school for computer science. I had one more year left for being able to finish my bachelor's degree. You know, then that 2008 crisis hit or whatever. And, you know, this happened before then or whatever, but I was just having a hard time juggling, you know, working a full-time job, going to school, trying to get loans. It was a hard time. Like the market was starting. It was before the 2008 crash, but it was already getting bad to the point where like you were struggling to get student loans and stuff like that. So to make the long story short, you know, I said, you know what, let me go do truck driving for a while because I needed a way to provide for myself and my wife at the time. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go to truck driving school and go do it for a little while and, you know, go back to school and finish my degree out, right? I've always been really passionate about technology, computers and programming and stuff like that. I was average at best, you know what I mean? I've never been a big numbers guy, but that's something that you definitely need when you're doing computer languages. I learned a couple of them. I did C plus and C plus plus, or C and C plus plus in high school. When I was in college, I did a little bit of HTML and Java and stuff like that. This has been years ago, so I I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure if I get a compiler up, I can probably make some stuff happen or whatever, but it's been a minute that I've actually done any type of programming or whatever, you know? And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go to truck driving school and try to save up some money and go finish up my school, right? Well, then life happens, you know what I mean? Like as you're growing older and, you know, things start changing in your life, you know, me and my wife decided to have a baby. Decided. It didn't come out. The baby, or my oldest right now is about to be 18 here in December. So we had actually planned it. And when you're going to be a parent, you kind of just can't, like, you're never going to be fully 100% ready. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we might have been a little bit better. At this time, we were living in an apartment, and, you know, I was working all hours of the day when, you know, before I went to trucking, just to try to pay rent. I think my rent back in those days was $450, guys. And I know some of you might say, man, that's cheap. Well, yeah, but I was also making, you know, $5.15 an hour minimum wage. So just kind of do the math there, where how inflation has gone up, right? And So one thing led to another. I was truck driving. I was when my wife called me that we were gonna have a baby. I was with my trainer in Miami, Florida. I remember this perfectly well. I did my training with Swift, and their training process is actually not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. I learned a little bit from it, and just kept on rolling it. You know what I mean? And the problem was once I actually started running out on the road by myself, there was just no loads, man. I remember you would finally get a load where you're like, yeah, this is a 1,600-mile load or whatever, and you would start rolling it, and then your dispatcher would be like, hey, drop that off in Dallas and go deliver this other load. So he would always like cut the trips, you know what I mean, to where you couldn't make no money or whatnot. And that went on for a while. I was actually making less money than when I was working here a local job here at home. So then I quit, and I had a hard time finding a job, because I had quit when I had 3 months experience, just because it wasn't working out. And luckily, I was able to go to another company, and they gave me an opportunity to work with them. I had to do the training crap all over again, but we got it done or whatever. And it's just, I know I'm kind of all over the place, guys. Like I said, I'm not. This is not a scripted video or nothing, but like thinking about it right now, right? I've been 19 years in the industry, and it's just like it's just getting harder and harder and harder, man. Like back in the day, drivers would take more pride in the work. There was more money available for you to be able to make. Everything wasn't as expensive as it is right now. I believe back in those days, fuel was like $1.10, $1.20 per gallon. You can find a used truck that was pretty decent for $20,000. And now it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's just like, I find myself that every year, as the years go on and go on and go on, it's like I find myself being worse off than when I barely started off truck driving 19 years ago. So it's just like, I kind of constantly question myself, do I love the industry? Absolutely not. But do I absolutely hate it as well? No, I'm very neutral. I'm thankful for what it's given me, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't have anything in my life if it wasn't for trucking. I've been in it 19 years. I was able to buy my house and have my cars and have debt, just like everybody else does, and like it's been providing for me for these last 19 years. But it's really getting to the point now where it's like, is it even worth doing it? You know what I mean? Trucking's been so for me, but in today's day and age, with AI around the corner, AI is already taking other jobs. It's eventually going to get to a point where it's going to disrupt the trucking industry as well. And it's kind of made me reflect on if I want to keep truck driving or not. Unfortunately, right now I'm not in a position to where I could just quit. I'm one of those type of individuals where I'm like a MacGyver, man. My sister always makes fun of me because one way or another I make something work. I'm kind of like the jack of all trades and master of none. Like I'm master of none of them, even mechanical work. But there's a lot of things throughout the years that I've learned how to do, and I know how to do electrical work, plumbing work, low voltage stuff and computer stuff, camera systems. Like it's very difficult when you've been doing something such as long as I have, 19 years for me, to just switch to another industry. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work, but it takes time for you. Like your bills are here and trucking is right here. It's kind of close, but not quite, but you can kind of make it working. But then it's like you switch to a different industry and it's like your bills are here and you're down here trying to get to just be able to pay your current lifestyle off. And it's very, very difficult to just switch to something different, with AI around the corner. Like, just think about it. How many people right now aren't like industry professionals, with degrees, master's degrees, PhD degrees, where AI has taken their job, or um, they're having a hard time looking for a job. You know, back 20 years ago when I was going to school, it was very common to hear your professors say, like, you got a bachelor's degree, like you're good, like you're already ahead of the pack, like you're yeah, it's very very likely you're going to get a pretty good job, right? But now look at the way the labor market is right now, like it's just it's insane. You go out there and you make an application, and even if you got a master's degree, like instead of standing out like back in the old days where maybe just one or two people had a master's degree and everybody else had no degrees, or maybe a couple of them a bachelor's degree, you would stand out, right? Now these days you go put an application, and out of the 100 applications, maybe 70 of those people have master's degrees. So it's because we were taught from a young age, right? Or at least in my generation, right? um, you go to school, you do good grades, you go to college, you get a good degree, and you're going to get a good job, right? But at the end of the day, going to school shows you a skill in class that you hope that you can apply in the real world, right? And it doesn't guarantee success at all. That's just the reality of it. um, but I just been thinking a lot, um, about trucking, and how it's changed. It was enjoyable back then, and we were still regulated. You had not e-logs, you had your paper logs, but it's just like now every corner, you're constantly hearing about, you know, e-logs, and these e-logs don't work today. Go on paper logs these days, and you have to buy another e-log or whatever, right? And then you see these camera systems that are starting to get embedded into these trucks now with different companies, where you're required to have that inward facing camera, and that outward facing camera that has AI and all this crap. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's no broker transparency. Everything's more expensive. Parts are expensive. Fuel's expensive. Trucks are expensive. Permits are expensive. It's just like everything is down to, like, everything works against you. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, very difficult to make it work. And it's like you're out on the road, away from your family, missing birthdays, missing holidays, missing graduations, or any important life events that are going on with your family, a funeral, you know, a baby birth, or, you know, um, a medical emergency with one of your loved ones. And it's like you miss out so much when you're out there out on the road, you know what I'm saying? And, luckily for me personally, I don't have it that bad because I usually work a week and then I'm off a week. So I practically maybe only work like 2 weeks out of the month, and it's because I have dedicated freight, and that's the way I pretty much set it up. I try to do things in between, which is something that I used to do quite a bit before to help me make some more money. But it's just the market's so horrible right now that it's not even worth going out with anything else. So I end up just taking the time off, and I have that balance, where I go work when I need to go work, and then I'm home when I need to go, home, and get all the things done that need to get done on the truck, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Just chill or whatever. But it's been it's been more challenging, uh, these times with the overcapacity right now. The freight volumes are down. Um, I watched that Trucking Made Successful. Miranda, she gives pretty cool videos on updating the market, and how many new carriers came in, how many new carriers left, and whatnot. Like, she gives a pretty good insight on the market. Man, I love these things. Sparkling water, but is it really just water? That's the thing. But yeah, man. I mean, I've been I've been really, really seriously thinking about maybe jumping in to do something else. I just don't know quite where to go yet, and it's going to take some time to transition over. Um, And I don't know if most of you guys watching, if you guys are even watching up to this point, um, but particularly for drivers that are watching this video, like, what are your thoughts? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that it's gonna get better? Do you think that it's gonna get worse? Do you think it's gonna stay the same? Because I honestly don't see it getting any better. Will it stabilize to a certain extent? Yes, but with AI around the corner, like, it's gonna happen, guys. It's just a matter of time. Like, the trucks are already out on the road. I made a video that has done pretty crappy as of the making of this video. Go check it out. It's on my playlist on self-driving trucks, and I gave a lot of good points there. And I want to see your all's feedback about it, right? But like, it's not a matter of if it's gonna happen; it's when it's gonna happen. As far as being fully implemented at a large scale, you know, and it just makes me think um, about people upcoming into the industry right now, right? Um, I could probably honestly say that if I was a 20-year-old or 21-year-old kid right now in 2025, I wouldn't join trucking. I wouldn't join trucking because there's so much more that goes into trucking than just being a steering wheel holder, you know? Um, like like I mentioned before, you know, like all the things that you miss at home, like, it takes your youth away from you, you know what I mean? Like, I woke up this morning, you know, before I started making this video, and I'm like, crap, man, I'm 40 years old. I've been doing this 19 fucking years, and I'm still struggling. Like, 19 years of my life, all the best years. Think about it. In my personal opinion, you all might differ. I think the absolute best years of your life are your 20s and your 30s, because that's when you're like young, energetic, enthusiastic. You're looking forward to life. You're building your life. You know, you maybe looking into getting married, having some kids, and getting a house, trying to achieve the American dream, right? When you're young that way, you know. And it's like, now that I'm 40, I don't consider myself an old fart yet, right? But I ain't 20 years old no more. And it's just like, I see my daughter, she's about to graduate, and I see the way the world is today, on how difficult it is to survive out here. And I'm not talking about just trucking, I'm talking about just, excuse me, anything in general. You know, it's tough, you know. People are getting laid off. The economy is in the shit. I don't care what the news says. In my opinion, it's in the shit. Cuz think about it. Trucking is one of those few industries where you kind of can gauge where the actual market is up on based on the consumer index, I guess you can call it, if you want to get technical, right? When people are doing good, people are going out on vacations, they're fixing their trucks, they're buying cars, they're buying appliances, they're buying technology gadgets, phones, like everything, right? And obviously that creates demand, so more trucks are needed to move those goods and services across the United States, so that we can live our way of life, right? And it just doesn't seem that way right now. They're saying that this is the best economy that we've ever been in, and I just don't see it. It's just kind of like paycheck to paycheck, you know? The world that we live in today is just difficult, man. It really is difficult, to try to get ahead. Um, it's just like, I'm constantly like, every time I get a little bit ahead, something happens and it's two steps back, you know? And talking about the trucking industry, like, being flat out for real. Drivers out there in the comments that have been driving for a couple of years or for a long time, like I have, tell me if I'm wrong, you know? But it used to be where trucking used to be rewarding. Right now, it's not like that. Right now, it's just survival. That's really all it is right now. It's just survive and hoping that it gets better. But trucking is not a really glamorous um, industry, you know? It takes you away from your loved ones. It takes away your youth, you know, your health, because you're constantly just sitting down. driving, you're eating crap out there on the road. I mean, you can kind of mitigate that a little bit. I bring pretty much all my own food pre-cooked from the house so that I can try to eat a little bit better, but you're still kind of limited to what you could put in a microwave, right? Or you can cook in the truck. Tried that before, but then it like stinks up your whole truck. You want to talk about stinking up your truck? Cook a fish inside your truck. I remember I did that one time. My truck literally smelled like fish for like a month. So like it's not practical, right? But it's like you go to places right now, and it's like just the logistical process is a pain in the ass, right? Like everything is to technology now. Sometimes you go to shippers and receivers now where you don't even talk to anybody. You literally just scan a QR code, you log all your information in there, and it'll either tell you go to such and such channel on your CB, or if you don't have a CB, we'll call you. And you don't really interact with anybody, right? And then whenever there's issues with pickup numbers or delivery numbers or something's wrong, it's just a pain in the ass to deal with trying to get that situation resolved, right? um, you have the problem that you're always against the clock. There's no truck parking everywhere you go now. It's either they don't let you be there or you have to pay to be there, right? Most of these shippers and receivers don't let you park anywhere in their facility, whether you're gonna pick up or deliver or whatever that you're gonna do, right? Um, like it's just like what's the benefit of it, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't dislike trucking itself. I actually love driving. That I can't say. I don't mind it at all. To me, I think it's a pretty easy job because I've been doing it such a long time. The actual truck driving of it, right? Like you're behind your wheel and you're rolling. It's all the other bullshit, man, that's just got into you already. All the regulations, parking, nobody wants you anywhere. You're just in the way of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always against you. Law enforcement's always looking for, how they can give you a ticket or whatever. Like you can just like lose all your money on just one little violation that you may have in the truck. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't check your truck. I think that sometimes these law enforcement officials forget like how many components are actually in a truck. It's thousands, if not millions, like washers and screws and bolts and sensors and wire harnesses and air leaks and fittings and wheel seals and oil leaks, coolant leaks. Like it's so many things that are in a truck that you got to be on the lookout for, where you know it, on a little 15, 20, 30 minute pre-trip you ain't gonna catch everything. I've made videos of that where once a week I'll literally get underneath my truck like hours. I'll literally go underneath right there with the flashlight to check everything, just to try to make sure that I'm in compliance. Because one little ticket or one little shutdown, or whatever, where it requires you to get a roadside service, like that might be your full profit for the week or two or three. You know, um, and then I mean that's the owner operator side, right? But like these AI driven cameras and stuff, like they're not there for your benefit. They're there for the company's benefit, and they're there just to micromanage. Don't believe me? Go look at Prime videos. There's a whole bunch of Prime drivers that have made videos on them cameras, and they can tell you. I made a couple of Prime videos myself where I gave my 2 cents. Go check them out on my playlist. But yeah, man, it's just like so many things are changing in the industry, where it's just got me thinking like, is it even worth doing it? And the conclusion that I've come up with is, you ain't got a goddamn choice, Gabe. You gotta do it because bills don't wait. They don't give a fuck if you're sick. They don't give a shit if you're tired. They don't care if you have a house to live in. They don't care if your truck breaks down. They don't care if your mom dies. They don't care if your cat dies. They don't give no shit what's going on in your life. They want their money. So it's gotten to a point where it's like, I'm kind of stuck. I know how to do a lot of other things, but I really kind of don't have a marketable trade to where I can switch to something else and I actually make pretty decent money on it, right? And I think for the first time in my life, I'm actually genuinely concerned about AI coming for trucking jobs, right? Because they're already out on the road, and it's got me thinking to where, like, I don't think it's gonna happen near in the future. Probably maybe within the next 1 to 10 years or whatever. Let's pretend it's 10 years. I'll be 50 years old, and and I would definitely want to be doing something different. Um, something that makes more money, man. You know what I mean? Allows you to be home. Like, I don't mind working hard. It's just that's just it right now with the way trucking is right now. You go work hard, bust your ass or whatever, and you barely make ends meet. So it's like 19 years of experience. Where has it got me? You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day when I started driving, the more experience that you had and the better record that you had, in conjunction with your experience, would get you those better jobs, right? Those highly paid jobs, right? Where you can actually make some good money, or those local ones. Now it's like if the market like shifted, like if I go apply for XX company as a company driver, and you got a kid that just graduated trucking school, we both start at the same amount practically. And if it's a very slight difference. So it's like, just to give you an example, right? I don't even know what the going market for a company driver is, because I've been an owner operator for the last 11 years, so I haven't looked into it, right? But let's just pretend it's 45 cents, right? And it's like, all right, Gabe, you got 19 years experience, got no accidents, no tickets, you got a good record, everything's clear, criminal, all that stuff is good to go. We're going to give you 47 cents. And that other guy's getting 45 cents. Like, 19 years of experience only gets me 2 cents? Or 3 or 4 or 5? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does the experience get you to? I remember um, back in my younger days, when I got my license, and once I hit 1 year, I really started contemplating about getting my own truck, right? And here's the thing that I'm going to tell any of you new drivers that are watching this video. If you believe that you can make it happen, then do it. Don't let me deter you from chasing what you want to chase in truck driving, whether that's to have your own truck or multiple trucks, a fleet, a company. Go do it, right? Is it going to be hard? Yes, because in the reality of the world that we live in today, the market is very difficult right now. It's very hard to be profitable right now in this market. Um, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people don't have success, right? Um, that's probably one of the biggest things that I regret, is listening to other people, other truck drivers, family members. No, no, don't go get a truck, man, because, like, what if it breaks down, or, what if this happens, or what if that happens, like, it would kind of always deter me away from it, away from it, away from it. And when I finally just said, F it, I'm going to get my truck and let's rock it and roll it, I've been doing pretty good. I don't do great, but I've been doing pretty good. There's been a couple of years where I've done excellent, you know, to where I think back to where if I wouldn't have let myself be deterred by other people, I really honestly strongly believe that in today, I would have a fleet. I would have a company, and I would have maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 trucks. I have this buddy of mine where we became owner operators exactly the same time. And, not exact date or whatever, but, around the same time. And he did say it. He was like, screw it. F it. I'm going to try it. I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he has like 50 trucks now. His own company, a whole bunch of trailers and everything. Like he pulled the trigger, he did the risk, and he got it going, right? And, I also took the risk too, with getting my own truck or whatnot, right? Um, the most trucks I ever had in my fleet, I guess you could say, is 2 trucks, and it was just one thing or another with the drivers, trying to get drivers on, and maintenance and this and that, and then the market wasn't doing that good, and so I was just like, what, I just let the other truck go, and that's just it, like I sit here and think to myself like the only way up in my current seat where I'm at right now, which is an owner operator, the only way you're going to make it better is by getting your own authority and expanding. The problem with that is that it's just expensive to do that, and with the way of the current standing of the way the market is right now, it's just not worth the risk. I constantly see YouTubers out there. One of them that can come to mind is, I think it's Trucking with the Seven Seas. Trucking with the Seven Seas. Here, let me check. Don't get me lying. Let me check my phone right here. Let's see. I think it's Trucking with the Seven Seas. Let's see. He had his he was leased on to Landstar, and then he got his own authority. So I've been watching his videos. He gets pretty good videos. Let's see. Where are you? I know I'm subscribed to him. I think it's Trucking with the Seven Seas. I could have swore that I was. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, Trucking the Seven Seas. That's the guy. And he talks about like it ain't worth it right now getting your authority at this present time. You know what I mean? It's just the cost just doesn't. There's just no justification for getting, your insurance and all the crap that you need to get to go with your own numbers or whatever. And he's not really making more money. I think in one of his other videos, he was like, I'm kind of close to what I was already making when I was leased on a Landstar. And I have like the whole shindig, on my shoulders or whatever. But I would honestly say that that's probably one of the biggest regrets that I have right now, is not becoming an owner operator soon in my trucking career, I guess you could call it. I was already 9 years in, guys. Been driving for 19, and I've been owner op for 11 years, and I did 8 years. 8 years as company driver. A mixture of different things, right? I did dry van, I did reefer, I did fuel, gas, and tankers. I did haul crude oil in the oil field, haul machinery, pumps and stuff throughout the oil field. And dry van is what I currently do right now, right? I haven't done heavy haul or anything like that before. So yeah, it's just got me thinking like, what else can I do that can bring in some extra money? Because sometimes doing extra loads doesn't bring you that extra cash. It just depends on what the load pays. If the load doesn't pay good, then it's just not worth hauling it. Trucking and logistics it's not a smooth going process for the most part. There's always issues. If it ain't truck issues, it's regulatory issues. If it ain't regulatory issues, it's driver issues or dispatcher issues or shipper receiver issues. Like, it's always some sort of issue, right? So yeah, I mean, do any of you guys kind of feel where I'm coming from? I ain't sad, guys, or anything like that, right? Like, it's all good and groovy. I'm just sharing my thoughts as they come into my head, and I'm gonna keep on trucking because I don't have a choice. I have to keep on trucking to feed my family, right? And I'm gonna do anything I have to do to be able to feed my family and make sure that they're okay. Even running a shitty market right now, like, that's what I have to do to be able to feed my family. I don't have the choice where it's just like, well, it's shitty right now, so I'm just not gonna run. I have to run. Like, that's just where I'm at. That's my reality. You know, even if I wanted to change somewhere else, like I said before, it's not as simple as sometimes it seems. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting out here, my house and my pickup truck, talking to you, talking to you all here, just chilling. But I'm really, really hoping that that it picks up. You know, the holidays are around the corner. The holidays, guys, are around the corner. Holy shit! It's September. It's almost gonna be Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's, and Christmas, and I'm still broke. Damn! Holy shit! I need to get my ass working, make some Christmas money or something, man. Jeez. Holy crap, this year went by super, super, super quick. Super quick. But what I can tell you for new drivers that are watching the video, guys, is trucking is not a job, it's a lifestyle, and it comes with a lot of sacrifices that you have to make. Um, and it's something that you really need to kind of measure for yourself if it's worth it or not, right? Because it is difficult, you know. And um, what's really tough about this industry is one mistake, even if it's just honest mistake, you know, you switched over lanes and you looked, but you just didn't quite look correctly, and you hit the car flips over, kills everybody inside the car, and now you're going to prison for the rest of your life, or for most of your life, you know, for an honest mistake. You know, I'm not talking about those assholes or whatever driving over there like dicks. You know, I'm talking about, you know, shit happens, guys. We're all human beings, man. Sometimes you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You know, you might have been in bed all night and you just didn't sleep good, you know, and it just might have been one of those oversights where you just kind of looked and everything seemed kind of good, and you went over, you hit that car, you killed everybody in that car now, and now you're going to prison for the rest of your life. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person, right? And obviously the people that would be in that accident didn't deserve that either, right? But there's a very, very big difference when it's intentional and when it truly, really is an accident. Nobody's perfect, guys, and anybody can make anybody can make a mistake that causes an accident. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? That's all you hear in the news now in these days. You know, with drivers getting into accidents, English proficiency, and all that stuff. I made a couple of those videos too, which I do agree with. You know, I think it's very important to be able to speak English so that you know, so that you can communicate and read signs and all that stuff. I won't get into detail. I've already did that in those other videos, but yeah, guys. I mean, this is just kind of a video of just kind of what came into my thoughts. I know I'm all over the place talking about a whole bunch of different things, going back and forth or whatever. And maybe this video doesn't even make sense or whatever. Maybe a couple of parts do make sense for you. Maybe they don't. Shit, most of you guys ain't watching this all the way up until this point anyway, so F it. That's just reality. But yeah, man. One thing I can tell you though is I do enjoy making content. I don't know why. Um, but I do enjoy making content. Oh, my truck turned off. Let me turn this bad boy back on again. We need some AC up in here. I don't need no sweaty ball sack right out here in 100-degree weather, 140-degree weather outside. Hells to the no-no. But I don't even know what the hell I was saying. I'm telling you, I'm all over the place with this video, guys. But you know, I hope a couple of parts made sense to you guys. It's kind of just things that are coming off my mind, and I don't know, you know. This year's been a pretty interesting one for me personally, because I turned 40 this year, and I don't know, I just been thinking about life choices a lot lately, you know. I don't know if it's something to do because my mind's like, all right, you're getting older, Gabe, you know what I mean? And I just been thinking about like I've been reflecting a lot on the decisions that I've made in the past that are gonna be how I make decisions in the future. You know what I'm saying? I just been thinking about a lot of stuff. Um, one thing that trucking, I guess you can kind of say it's a positive for any of you guys that are going to join the industry, is trucking makes you realize and value what is actually important in life. What do I mean by this? Well, if you're a solo driver, such as myself, or if that's what you're going to be going for, you're always by yourself. You wake up by yourself, you eat by yourself, you take a shower by yourself. Everything is done by yourself. You load by yourself, you unload by yourself. Like, up until when you get home, that's when you're no longer by yourself. Well, if you're married, right? Like or a girlfriend or whatever. But as you're rolling down the road, these long days, 11-hour days, 10-hour days, you have a lot of time to think and reflect on what's going on in your life, right? And um, it really puts in perspective what's important in life. You know, when I'm out on the road, I'm constantly thinking about my wife, and her being okay and being happy, and my kids, they're growing up, super quick. It goes just like that, guys. I remember when I used to have um, my parents tell me that, your life's gonna be at a blink of an eye, and it's absolutely true. One day you wake up and you're like, holy shit, I'm 40 and I'm still broke. Got to do something different. But it really makes you value what's important in life. And your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your friends, you know like, things don't make you happy. Like, is it easier to have uh, financial success? Absolutely. It's absolutely needed for every aspect in life, right? It's the tool of life for you to be able to survive. But um, nothing can replace those relationships, those friendships, and that quality time that you're able to spend with your family, right? Like, if you get anything out of this video, if you're still watching this bad boy right now, um, that would probably be it. Like, enjoy your moments. Enjoy your moments with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, husband, wife, kids, nephews, nieces, friends, aunts, uncles, grandpa, grandma, whatever. Like, enjoy those moments with your family, because tomorrow's never promised. We all don't never know if tomorrow's going to be the last time that you ever talk to your mom, or ever see your mom, or your wife, or whatever, um, and that's one thing that I can honestly say that trucking has done for me. It puts in perspective what really is important in life. And I think that those friendships and those relationships, with your kids and your wife, they're the most important to me. um, it's like, for a lot of years, I would probably say that pretty much um, all of my 20s, I was always chasing that money, man. Oh, the oil field has money. Let's roll, bam, go make some money. You know, I wish I would have made a little bit better decisions with money, um, and investing and stuff like that. I've always pretty much just, whatever I make is for my family, which I don't regret that at all, right? Because they're the most important to me. Um, but within that range, I could have made a little bit better decisions financially, right? And I mean, we're in 2025, guys. Tell me how many people out there in the public, not just truck drivers, everybody's in debt, man, or mostly everybody. And if you're not in debt and you're up ahead in life or whatever, then more power to you or whatever, right? But talking about, like, just normal, regular Joes, just like me, everybody's struggling right now. It's hard. It really is hard. Um, but all we got to keep doing is just push forward, push forward. Um, this video right now just kind of it reminded me of my stepdad. You know, um, when he was alive still. He's been passed away now for I think 5 years now. Um, every single time that I saw him, probably like for shit, what was it? 15, 16, 17 years, whatever years that I spent with him and my mom. Every single time he would see me, he would always say, always forward. Siempre para adelante. That's in Spanish. Always forward. No matter what, always forward. Always keep moving forward. Um, and whenever I found myself in times where it's been rough, you know, I think most owner operators, their biggest fear is when that engine blows up and when it needs to overhaul. I've already went through that. I wasn't doing YouTube when I did that, but it was a very, very hard time, man. You know, when that engine blew it out, I was like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? You know, and it was always something that I kind of had in my mind. You know, it was very, very recent at that time when my engine went out, when my stepdad had passed away, and he was just like in my ear, man, like siempre para adelante, keep moving forward, keep moving forward, and we did. You know, that was I think I rebuilt my engine back in 2019. This when right around the COVID area, which was a nightmare, by the way. But yeah, guys, I just feel like I wanted to. I don't know. I just felt like turning on the camera and talking about whatever came into my mind. And I know I know that most of it doesn't make sense. I know I've repeated myself probably about 10 billion times already, but those are kind of just my thoughts. You know, like it really. Um, when you're young, you kind of don't realize it, but I guess it is right. You know, as you get older, you get wiser. Some people do, right? Not everybody, but like it's just got me thinking about a whole bunch of things, man, about the world that we live in today, um, on on how difficult it could be. But I guess all we got to keep doing is keep on trying, keep on moving forward.
Like, share, and subscribe.